Okay, we'll call this meeting to order with the pledge of had a chance. Something to made by Commissioner.
Second. Commissioner Dolzo. Commissioner Pelton.
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman. Commissioner Beener.
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton.
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman.
Yes.
Commissioner Beener. Okay, so in 600. So we do.
Opposed? Privilege.
And for effort they put very dedicated residents, passion for county, and giving up last examples of what it means to be public service. State of approach. Thanks for your dedication, quality of life, and I'd like to thank you. Part you poured.
Hey, Commissioners Heiser and Olson, you want to come up front?
We'll Chairman. Nominations. Aye.
Tracy is the president. Right here. No. Tracy is the president.
Chris, I believe you're on speaker.
Right here.
Can you mute?
Yes. No.
Nominate Craig Pelton for vice.
Favor, say aye. Engineers and road report. Or before that,
I'd like to add the road superintendent to our discussion.
Other discussions? Motion to Carl? Why don't we, on to the next part?
I can,
This-
those are. Sure, everyone can. Second Street Northwest and 84. For 2024 projects, 100 Southwest, Schwartz. Or no. Seating. Waiting for him. Actually from there. Meeting, how they got through that was they had similar usual plan. The plan. Ship Owen. to a couple. So they're planned, right. Good, 25 projects. So good. Shoes.
Sharon, if I might, if sometime when we get some chance, I'd like to. Issues you're having. Commissioner. Updates for your day and 92nd Avenue. Next few months. First Avenue Southwest. I'm checking this part. Street with its long project.
Can't hear.
Um, 12th Street, I do anticipate that one as well. Mid and early. Sixteenth Street Southwest, that's the 91st Avenue section. We have a grading design for that project. There's substantial site on that one. Ship out of 2025 projects, 20th Street, 86th, 98th Ave, those all surveys completed for those projects. Our grading good progress overall. Design project so far. The golf course road project work has been completed. It's been for some time now. Final inspection was completed on October 24th. The fencing is pretty much complete. They have a few tie-ins to do, so check with them this week. They should have that wrapped up with weather being nice. Do have the contractor approval for the final pay estimate, and I would payment to Central Specialties for pay estimate number 4, which is the final, in the amount of $230,651.08. I can, it's up there if it's screen. So.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, I would move that we pay estimate number 4 in the amount of $130,651.08 to CSI.
There's a second,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Heiser. Okay. Discussion. Not, roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman, Commissioner Dalzell.
Yes. Motion carries.
That completes that project as far as report and everything, so. Any other questions for me?
Carl, likewise, if we could get together with you sometime and project would be great.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Okay. There is, or interstate,
James.
James?
Chair, good morning.
Morning.
Congratulations. Dave, Al, thank you. I'd like to start with our construction project. We finished up, had our final walkthrough on the 14th, got everything approved by the contractor. We have prepared final progressive estimate number 6 and are recommending payment to the Liberchuck Construction in the amount of $96,561.94.
Madam Chairman, I move that we pay estimate number 6, an amount of $96,561.94 for 26th Street to Alubichuk Construction.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Olson. So there's a motion to pay estimate number 6 to Libachek Construction in the amount of $96,561.94. Any more discussion? If not, roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman, Commissioner Dalzell.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. On the 109th, we have received 2 negotiation signatures from half of the 4 businesses on the route. We also received an access agreement template from one of the others, which is in review to make sure it complies with all of our standards. Once the businesses comply, we'll revisit the residents opposed to the project. We're pushing our targeted bid date of December 8th, 2 months to February 19th, 2025, in hopes that we can continue good communication with those landowners. 27th Street, the final properties from which we need signatures have been legally split. Both parties are in favor of the project. The quote, new landowner wishes to review the design with myself and her attorney in the next coming week. Core approval is pending. The bid target is dependent on the final easement and core permitting. So we're right there. Any question on those 2 projects?
Mr. Chairman, how many more signatures do you need on 109th?
All of them,
All of them yet?
besides those 2 businesses that complied.
Okay.
So I do have 2 businesses. Those are who we're working with first to make sure we get them on board. And then we're going to move back to the landowners who have no intention of complying, but we're going to keep after them. Once we get those businesses, we'll ask for help from the commission if we can't get any further.
Any other questions for James?
Okay, on to 82nd South. Finishing touches are taking place on plan production. Temp easement descriptions are being finalized with some minor revisions. The Corps this week asked for some further design information, of which we did provide. We're having good communication with the Corps on this one. The hope is that they will be wrapping up the review soon. Bid opening is currently targeted for February 5th, 2025. And on north segment, corridor design continues. We have an internal hydrology review today with our hydraulic designers and are working on wetland mitigation. We have targeted a core application submittal date of December 18th with a hopeful bid date of April 16th. Any questions on 82nd? Or on anything else?
One thing is, once again, if we could get together with all you engineers, I'd really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll have Jeremy with Northern Plains.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a couple updates on our construction projects. First, we have 108M. That was completed. It's a federal aid project, so the pay estimates aren't presented at this meeting. Project's done. We had the final inspection. We'll work on the final documents, but that's a kind of a little bit of a lengthy project with the DOT, but over the winter, we'll complete those final documents. We do have a pay estimate for 114th Avenue, which is north and west of New Raddick. It is the final pay estimate. I believe it's number 8. The amount is $55,695.63, which once again is the final one. And I would recommend payment to Bronco Brothers for that project.
Madam Chairman, I move that we pay estimate number 8 for 114th Avenue Southwest in the amount of $55,695.63 to Bronco Brothers.
Motion to approve payment estimate number 8 to Bronco Brothers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Clayman. Any discussion? Any other discussion? If not, roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall.
Yes. Motion carries.
Next project that got completed was the seal coat and countywide striping. That was also a federal aid project, so we're coordinating with the DOT and final documents. Design projects, wish I had a little more information on this one, but 114th Avenue, which is an extension of the 7 Mile project that was completed. It's kind of in the vicinity of south of 19th Street, south of Lynn Bollingers. We've been working on that project and it goes through the Badlands and there's some realignment. And one thing we've discovered is an area of realignment, and I'll get you some more detailed maps at some point, but a couple of my guys in my office discovered a potential slide in that area. So we've done some investigation on getting some borings and we'll probably have a little better idea with maps and cost. But right now, if we were to proceed with some boring to kind of understand the scope of that slide, it's anywhere from, I'm going to say $6,000 to $12,000. We'll be able to give you a little better number at the next meeting, but just want to give the commission kind of an update that we kind of discovered that recently. We're going to try to find ways to fix it, but I'll let you guys decide at the next meeting what you guys would want to do. But just want to let you know we've kind of discovered that fairly recently, and we'll kind of work to resolve it as soon as we can, of course. Another project, 98th Avenue and 4th Street. That was bid, I believe, was in September. That was a paving project from Dunn Center that connected to Highway 200. If you remember, we bid it. The one bid we got was higher than what we had anticipated, so we tabled that, or actually rejected the bid. We're looking at rebidding that probably in connection or at the same time as a neighboring project, whether that's a DOT project or a City of Killdeer project or something like that. We haven't really identified any other projects in the area, but we're going to kind of keep looking at that, and maybe February or March we'll rebid that, but I don't think there's any real rush to bid that at this point, but that is kind of on our radar. A couple other projects that we've been working on. One of them, it's a longer project, BIA 10. We've had 95% set of plans for 6 months or 8 months, it seems like. I understand there's some new personnel at the BIA now, or at the tribe, I should say. I think we owe it to Dunn County to just kind of wrap up the plans. We wanted to have one more design review meeting with the owner and the party that would be responsible for the maintenance. They haven't been super responsive, so I think it's time we just wrap up the plans as we normally would and hand it off to them for the bidding phase. And that was kind of the agreement that the county had with the tribe. We wanted to try to make it the best project possible, but if that's maybe not going to work, I think we just fulfill your obligation to that MOU that was signed, and we hand it off to them and then they bid it. That fulfilled your obligation to the project. Was the design engineering only, the county paid for, construction cost, the tribe paid for, and we're at that point where we can just have the plans complete and let them bid it. So that's kind of what we're going to do. We put a target date in January. Realistically, we want to get that done by the end of the year, just to kind of get it done with. So that's what we're going to plan on doing. Another project we've been working on is 103rd Avenue from 11th Street to 7th Street. We're really close to getting the core permit on that one. As part of that project, the condition of the core permit, 0.42 acres has to be mitigated. We always look at if there's a way we can mitigate those acres on site or off site. I think this is one of those cases we probably need to mitigate that off-site would be the best way to do that. That comes with costs in itself. It's about $85,000 an acre. So in this case, I believe it was around $35,000. I'm not really looking for a motion today because we don't quite have that number of the core permit secured, but that's probably what I'll be asking for. Is a motion at the next meeting to proceed with that core permit. But like I said, we'll have that little more detailed discussion at the next meeting. But we're pretty close to knowing that we got to mitigate about 4/10 of an acre. Last project I was going to mention is 105th in the south part of the county, from 25th Street to 19th Street. We also got the core permit almost secured. That one is a bigger mitigation, 1.8 acres is what we're expecting the final number to be. That one is not quite resolved yet, but that's going to be a cost that whether we mitigate that on site or off site, somehow we got to mitigate those 1.8 acres. So we'll probably have more information in the next meeting, but there is going to be some mitigation required. Some of the other projects were collecting easements and core permits, but those are kind of the highlights that we've been working on the last couple of weeks. So I think that was it for my updates. Is there any questions from the commission?
Jeremy, I'd like to comment on that Dunn Center project. I think waiting, because I think most people should probably travel the road from Dunn Center to Halliday. Maybe check with the DOT, see if they got a paving project coming up, because unless they're going to continue to put Band-Aids on that road, I think they're probably going to do something with it soon. And there'll probably be a plan set up really close by.
Yeah, and we've been looking at the STIP and their upcoming bid openings. We've always heard of this project in the Halliday area on 200 or 8. It's not planned, but you're right. There's got to be one at some point that could potentially save some money. That's what we're trying to do is use another project to get a plant site that we can kind of share that mobilization. But you know, that's a good idea. Sure. We'll continue to look at that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Jeremy, where that slide is on 114th, is there any springs at the bottom of that? Has anybody been down there?
Well, that's what we kind of theorize. It's either a spring or there's a coal seam there that's sliding. But we're just kind of taking a uneducated guess. We've seen those before, and that's kind of the classic case of what's going on. But until we do borings, we're only speculating on what that would be. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I kind of did.
Okay.
In Badlands, when there's a spring or something in there, they're just hard to build on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we probably need to look at going around that if we can. I don't know.
Yep. Like I said, I wish I had a map for you guys because that's an area where we're intentionally trying to follow the section line where the road is now. The existing road is off the section line, and we're trying to move it to the section line for a couple different reasons. But that doesn't mean, I mean, all things being equal, we would put it on the section line. But that slide kind of complicates things. There's an option of moving away from the slide and further away from the section line. And that's where I kind of want to give you guys a map and expected cost, and you guys can decide, do we go straight on the section line with this added cost or deviate off the section line with a reduced cost? But at this point, we're a little unsure of what those magnitude of cost are. But by next meeting, I think we'll have a lot more information for you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Barry, do you have any utility permits today?
Nope, no utility permits today.
Any other thing you need to bring up or?
Nope, trucks are all in Scoria and they're out doing some tree trimming and about it for right now.
So why don't we take a 10-15 minute break until we hear from DOT. Okay. convenience.
Madam Chairman, I just got a note that the project on 200 is slated for 26.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, DOT is Brad?
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning,
Okay.
Madam Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Brad Dar. I'm the DOT State Maintenance Engineer. I requested to be on your agenda today to discuss the state's limited 129,000-pound large truck network of roadways and get your thoughts for our director and an advisory committee's consideration. A bill was passed during the 2017 legislative session requiring the DOT to permit up to 129,000 pounds on a specific network of roadways and establish a process to add segments to that system. The permit's in place and it's a $20 single trip with a $10 routing fee, $100 per month or $700 per year per truck trailer combination. The legislation established the request mechanism for commercial entities and for individuals who reside in the state to request specific augmentations of the system based on economic needs and outcomes. That process includes an advisory committee to provide input to the department. It's in actions taken to adjust the system, taking into consideration economic needs, benefits, investments, maintenance requirements, and safety. That system of roadways must keep all legal axle weights as they are today. And in addition, the loads must follow the federal bridge formula and any length limitations in effect. Our latest request has come from Ramsey Hill Logistics. The request is for North Dakota 22 from 22 and 200 north to Mandaree and North Dakota 200 from 85 to 83. The request affects the counties of Dunn, McKenzie, McLean, and Mercer. The application is attached to these. The design routes are being requested for an addition to the system in your county currently having a gross vehicle weight of 105.5 and are restricted to legal weight in the spring. There's no bridge issues on our system. I can go through the attachments that I have next. The attachment 1 is the system as it is today, our 129,000-pound network. Attachment 2 is the requested roadways. That didn't come through very good in black and white. Their actual applications attached. Then attachment 4 is our spring load restrictions. And then attachment 5 is the length limitations. Currently, they're at maximum 95 feet. As part of this process, we'll consider whether we leave them at 95 feet or move it up to 110 feet to allow the truck trailer combination to be a little longer and spread the loads out a little better. And that helps you get to the 129,000 pounds. With that, I'll answer any questions. I guess taking a step back, some commissions have just verbally given us their thoughts. Some have made a motion and some have sent a letter. So it's really up to you how you want to handle this, but we're here to hear your thoughts.
You know, Brad, there's been lots of discussion over the years about more axles, less loads. Do you feel that it's going to be a detriment to some of the roads?
I do not think this will be a detriment. So all axles have to be legal. So there's more axles under here. Actually, it's less equivalent single axle loads in a lot of cases. So it's less damage to the roadway.
I know there's been lots of studies, so it's kind of good to hear that. So, but basically what's going to happen, you just want permission from the county to travel through the county. The county has no, jurisdiction or truck regulatory or anything on them, I guess, probably on the highway.
Madam Chairwoman, Commissioner, that is correct. If they want to get off the state highway system, they have to come to the county. The county has to establish their own 129,000 pound permit to allow them to use their county roads. So it will rely with the county. I believe Dunn County is load pass county.
Yes.
I believe Grand Forks has already done work through it with them to establish it. If you look at the current network of roadways, there's some roadways in the east for sugar beets. And that process was all followed. The counties were all in favor of it. And there is some county roads in like Grand Forks County off the state system to get the sugar beets to the highway, to their beet piling sites. So that opportunity would exist for you, but it's all up to you.
So basically from point A to point B, it was strictly state highways, no county roads.
Commissioner, that's correct.
Thank you.
So Brad, the length from 95 to 110 feet, is that a certain, planning to go forward? Or I see there were a couple recommendations that they wouldn't allow the 110 feet for 200 east of Dunn Center to Beulah and 22 basically through the Badlands down to the.
Well, that is our district engineer's recommendation at this time. That will be looked at as the process progresses. So, we've done our engineering study. The roadways can handle the loads. And then there's not a study on the length. It's just kind of a feeling of safety for the rolling hills. That's our concern with our district engineer, but that decision has not been made. That's his recommendation. There's a lot of other engineers and an advisory committee to give us some advice. The ultimate decision will be on our director.
Go ahead.
Permission to speak. There has been some questions from law enforcement, I guess, on this increased length and weight. Are the roundabouts designed for this type of length going through them currently?
They are. They've got that apron in the middle so that it will off track some, but they can handle it.
Okay. That would be our concern with our county roads. If we allowed them on our county roads as well, having proper turning capacity for that extra length.
That is a consideration.
Are there any other questions?
We do have the applicant here too, if you have any questions of him.
I can address some of those concerns that you have. He's going to put the screen up here and then sure. You asked about my name's Justin Tucker. I'm with Ramsey Hill Logistics. We move a bunch of sand here and I'll show you kind of what we're doing. Gives you an idea. Here you'll see our fleet or a portion of our fleet running today. They come right here to Hazen and they load up with sand and they drive up here up to Mandaree where they deliver the sand, and everywhere there's a green arrow, there's a company vehicle going up and back, and we can watch those, monitor those. If you're interested in the level of safety we go about this, we have literally a video on each driver at all times. Everything's being recorded down to the details. So here's Jim right here driving through the town. Not sure which town that is. He's just coming up through Hazen right now. We can see his speed is 45 miles an hour. He's in a speed limit is 45 miles an hour. His name's Jim Brown. We have every detail and everything on each one of these drivers, and that's the level of safety that we go about that. Safety is a big deal to us as a company. Some of the questions you asked the first question that was asked was about the road. I'd like to put up real quick the weight. You asked about the weight and is it going to damage the roads? That's a question we get asked. And my background real quick, I've been in safety for about 20 years, been in safety over hazardous material vehicles, moving petroleum across the United States. And also dealing with the counties and the weights and permits and things of that nature. If you look right here, the federal, across the United States, all the Walmart trucks or Swift trucks or any trucks you see going up and down the road, they all have 5 axles on them and they can haul 80,000 pounds. That comes out to about 16,000 pounds per axle. Here in North Dakota at 105.5, we're able to go, a lot of times you'll see 7 axles with 100,000 or 8 axles with 105,000, and that puts 13,000 pounds per axle on the road. At 129,000 pounds and 10 axles, that puts us at 12,900 pounds on average on the road. So you can see with more axles, we actually distribute the weight better, which is better for us as a company. And the reason that's better for us is we're vested in these roads. We need these roads. We need these roads to hold up a long time because we're going to be pulling sand out of that for a very long time. The number one thing in safety you guys have mentioned is we've talked about, for example, the length of the truck, and I'm going to address that here in just a minute. But things that you guys are not thinking that are a big deal to us are potholes. If we hit a pothole, blows a steer tire, that's when we have an accident or an issue that way. Icy roads, things of that nature are a big concern to us, and the way the equipment is spec'd and designed and specific for the job. So having less weight on them is better. Another question we get commonly asked is, you have more weight, how does that affect your stopping distance? Each axle, our stopping distance is actually better than a federal spec because we're stopping, as you can see here, we're stopping 12,900 pounds per axle on our equipment versus a federal spec is 16,000 pounds per axle. So we can actually stop faster with more axles under this spec than a federally spec truck that can go anywhere in the United States. So in other words, we're lighter per axle. We have better stopping distance. And the third thing to take into account is we're reducing the traffic count by 25%. So if we're hauling 100 loads out of there a day, now we're hauling 75 loads out of there a day. So by reducing the traffic count, we're also improving safety by having a lower number of vehicles on the road. Another thing, right here's the passing distance. This is what we were discussing a moment ago. You were talking about the 95 feet versus the 110 feet. That is an additional 15 feet. When you look at that, 15 feet might look like a lot, but when you're passing a vehicle, and we calculate it, we want to know how much time is that going to take. So when you're traditionally driving up and down the road, you have a following distance of about 2 seconds. 2 seconds, if you look right here, 2 seconds at 50 miles an hour is 146 feet. At 55 miles an hour, it's 160 feet. 60 miles an hour, 176 feet. So let's just using a presumption here, the traffic's moving somewhere between 60 and 70, or excuse me, between 55 and 65 miles an hour everywhere in here. So you're going to be approximately 150 to 200 feet before you even start a turn. Then you got to pass the 100-foot long truck, and then you're going to go another 100 or 150 feet past before you merge back in. So when you take that total distance, you're looking you're going to go from an average of 495 feet to pass, make a complete pass, meaning the amount of time that you're in the left-hand lane passing that vehicle is going to be equivalent to about between 495 and 510 feet. What it breaks down to is if you're doing a pass at 10 miles an hour when you come up to a vehicle to pass them, you're going to pass them going approximately 10 to 15 miles an hour faster than that vehicle is going. So if our vehicles are going 65, which we put a governor on them, and with a governor, they cannot go over 65 miles an hour. We don't want them to. If they were going 55 or let's say 50 miles an hour, someone that's going to pass them is going to be going 10 to 15 miles an hour faster than they are. In order to complete a pass of any truck out there currently, or with the current law being approximately 495 feet to pass, your seconds to pass goes from 33 seconds to 34 seconds with that increased length. In other words, adding 15 feet of distance, or I'm going to come up here towards the top of this spreadsheet to make it just a little bit clearer. If you go from 95 to 105 feet, you're increasing the passing time by 1 second if you're passing at 10 miles an hour over the speed limit or over the vehicle in front of you. If you're passing at 15, which is the average, it's going to take just over a half a second longer to pass that. So if it's only a half a second longer and the average passing time is between 17 to 34 seconds to pass a full vehicle, and you're adding an extra half a second for 15 feet, that's pretty minimal. That's pretty minimal. If the county were to push and force us down to live into the 95 feet and not allow us to go to the 115 feet, that does cause other issues and other problems. If you look at we have the issue of standardization across the board. You can see this right here is kind of the blueprint of what we have. If you guys can see that up there, this vehicle right here, the permit is either 95 or 110 feet. We need 104 feet. So in reality, we only need 9 extra feet above the 95 feet, which means the next passing time for us as a company is going to be less than a half a second more for the additional 9 feet that we need. But if we were obligated to compress this vehicle, we can shorten the wheelbase right here and we can shorten the drawbar right here, but that actually causes a bigger concern, because the longer your wheelbase, the safer your vehicle is. You guys have driven a short wheelbase car, maybe your little tiny car versus more of a pickup or a Suburban on icy roads. The longer your wheelbase, the safer your vehicle. So all in, it's safer at the 104. Plus it leaves a standardized item that is equivalent to the other states, such as Idaho, Utah, Montana, Wyoming, and Montana, that all run a similar setup and doesn't obligate us to create a white elephant piece of equipment that can only operate specifically on this road. Is there any questions specific about the axle weights or the passing distance or standardization?
Any questions? Pretty good math lesson.
I've got one other item here. You can see right here's Highway 200. This is Killdeer, by the way, in your county. In addition to the state road that we have not talked about with you, our shop is located right here. So we would be leaving the state road for approximately, I think that's about a mile to come into our shop. So we would request approval to access our shop in and out to this Highway 200, just on this road right here, to come into our facility where we park our vehicles at night.
Are they loaded or empty?
Both, because they do about 2.5 rounds a day. So the day driver runs around 2.5, and then they'll park loaded, then the night guy will go up and empty it. And so go back to, you asked if it's loaded or empty. I would like to go back to the weight again. Currently, we're going in there loaded on that exact same road with 14,000 pounds per axle. If you approve us to go in there, we're going to be going in there on 12,000 pounds per axle. So by allowing the permit, it actually lowers it. And
I'm unfamiliar with the road is, and maybe Chris can help me out. Is that a paved road, gravel road that leads to here?
Yes, that's a paved road. It's 103rd. And it's part of Killdeer that they have some jurisdiction on, so you might have to go to the city too.
okay, we can do that.
I mean, it's a joint venture road with us.
Okay. Any other questions?
Other questions?
Appreciate you. Thanks for your time and allowing us to be a partner in safety with you guys. And we appreciate what you guys do for us. Thanks.
You.
Thank you.
Do we want to have a motion to approve this, or?
I think there's two items here. One, the county, and the other one is the state highway. I think the state highway we have no jurisdiction over, and I'm unfamiliar with the road that they're going to be using. Is it a newly graded road, and is it built?
It's the road going to our shop.
And Terry, you might have a better, I've been on the road. I'm not sure how it's constructed, and my only concern is it going to take the weight?
It's reducing the weight. By doing that, see, when you reduce the number of, when you have less weight per axle with 10 axles, when you're moving the trucks, sometimes it's a complicated concept for people to grasp. When you're hauling more gross weight, but you're hauling less weight per axle on the road. When you decrease the weight on an axle per axle, weight per axle is what damages a road, not gross weight, because you can put 2 trucks right behind each other or 4 trucks right behind each other. All you're doing is hooking them together, and then by getting rid of the tractor, by reducing the load count, the number of axles with the amount of weight crossing on that per day is lower.
I get that. My only question was, is the road not knowing the road, can it take it? That's all.
Okay, we're doing it now. It's actually gonna be an improvement from what's going in and out of there today.
That is.
Wasn't built to 105, that one is. The concern would be the approach coming in and off of Highway 200 as well.
It does have a turning lane because that's where they turn. All the trucks go to Bell Energy. It's a subdivision in there with a bunch of shops. So it's currently has an acceleration lane and then a turn lane to pull in and out of there on the divided highway.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Mr. Chairman, I guess I'd like to table this to our next meeting so we could check into it a little bit more.
The county road.
Yeah, that
portion.
and the whole thing, I guess I'd like to look at.
You know, when the builder meets,
They meet the first and third Monday of each month, so, it would be, what was Monday, the 2nd?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 16th, the city of Killdeer will have a meeting.
and you'll probably have to go to them too, because they're part owner of that road. And in their
And
jurisdiction.
our next meeting will be the 18th.
Thank you.
So is that a motion to table, Commissioner Quigley?
Yes, it is.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion to table the DOT and what is it? The county road access for Ramsey Hill Logistics. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, thank you. Okay. Desi.
Good morning.
Morning.
I've had some discussion with a couple of department heads and Sally about portfolio assignments. And I realize you are doing that this meeting, but I did want to go ahead and come to you with a recommendation that we had for when you can put, see how I say this, assign commissioners portfolios that have opposing terms. So some of our department heads lost both of their portfolio holders this term. And so they would be starting with new portfolios. And our recommendation would be, if you guys can, when you assign those, to alternate them so that if we had a commissioner that was going out at the end of their term, we still had a commissioner that was staying on that had been there. And I just wanted to go ahead and bring it to you now so you have time to think that through and consider it before time to assign portfolios.
Any questions? Thank you, Desi. Okay. Is Holly here? A little bit early, but go ahead.
Okay, good morning, Commission.
Good
Morning.
I am here to just let the board know that Nicole Carlson has decided to resign at the end of this year. So after 10 years of dedicated service from her, she will be leaving us. My request is, after talking with Desi and kind of thinking about the position here, if we could replace her with maybe a full-time person, 30 to 40 hours, somewhat flexible. I know she went down to part-time this last April, but she's also been here for 10 years and we've been working together for the last 9. She knows everything in and out. And with coming in with 2 software systems that I'll be learning here within the next 6 months, and trying to train a new person, I would ask for that full-time position there and also ask to keep her on as a contracted person for the next 6 months. Just because she has done all the state reporting and things like that previously up until April, and she's been helping me throughout, but we are at a busy time this year season for the tax director's office with sale ratios and things like that. I would ask that I could reference to her if I needed to within the next 6 months, just for a little bit of extra help and guidance through the current software that we're on, because I'll be rotating and switching to a new software. So I guess those are my questions. And then also a note that if we do allow me to get a new person, that our education budget will probably be over budgeted or under budgeted, because that person will have to get another class 1 assessor if the county chooses to. And the difference between class 1 and class 2 is I'm a class 1 assessor, so I can do all that sales ratio and stuff, and we don't have to outsource to a different county to come in and prepare our documents and send them to the state. So that requires 180 hours of education. The state only offers 2 classes per year currently, so it takes 2 years to get the certification. So are there any questions about this?
Any questions for Holly? I guess, I, served as tax director and I know how much goes into it. In fact, you have to be certified. You have to have the classes. I would recommend that we go ahead and open up the position once, I don't know, I guess it'd be Desi, can we open the position now and advertise with the intention that Nicole would be done the end of the year? Okay. So I guess I would move that we do that. The other part, as far as being able to contract some hours for help, I think that's a wise thing to do as well. So, so I guess as chair, I would move that we go ahead and open up the position full-time tax director, assistant deputy tax director, and allow some contract hours for Nicole to assist Holly as needed.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Oh, yeah. So we have a special events permit. Sally?
So we have a special events permit for the Ezra Barrows Post. They will be having a special event at the Killdeer Rodeo Grounds at the Saddle Club. This will be December 7th from 5 p.m. until 1 a.m.
And that is for the Hannah and Will Kling benefit. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the special events permit for the Killdeer Saddle Club building. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, road superintendent, that was added to the agenda.
Madam Chairman, I'd make a motion to put our current road superintendent on administrative leave with pay, effective immediately, and to leave his pickup and his keys at the shop.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Place the road superintendent, David Lim, on administrative leave with pay and to leave his vehicle and keys at the shop. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Has something changed that I don't know about? Or is the status the same as it was before?
As far as the status, I firmly believe he's not completing the job that he's hired to do.
More discussion? If not, roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton,
Oh.
Commissioner Kleeman,
No.
Commissioner Dalzell.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda.
Hold it, I've got. Our building committee has lost one and we probably should put one on right away. I recommend Commissioner Olson.
Motion and second to appoint Commissioner Olson to the building committee. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Craig.
And we got the three bills we pulled from the road department engineers. And I'd move that we go ahead and add them to our other ones and prove that we
Approve the
passed.
vouchers, okay.
Yep, put them, add them to the vouchers and I'd move that we approve them.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second to approve the engineer pay estimates that were pulled from the vouchers that were previously approved. To approve them. Any discussion? Any discussion? If not, roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser,
Yes.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dolzall.
Yes. Motion carries. Else?
Madam Chairman, now that we dismissed Dave, should we appoint somebody to move into that spot? Or, I mean, take over now?
I believe that Terry's got the county in good hands and he can continue until the notice.
I guess that's what I wanted to know, is if we got somebody to,
I think Terry's doing a good job and he can continue.
Entertain a motion to adjourn
move.
by Commissioner Kleeman.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Heiser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 31. Thank you, everybody.